that are particularly important: remembering and holding silence. I'd just like us to take a moment to think about each of these. First of all, holding silence. I wonder how many of you, when you hear the word silence, what do you think? You might think of a teacher or a parent that screamed at you, "Silent!" Or maybe silent in libraries, the big word up, keep quiet, silent. When is there silence in your life? When is there silence around us? I could think of 3 occasions. Firstly, it happens when people don't know what to say. When there's an awkwardness, there's an unease, there's a nervousness. There feels like a bridge, a chasm between people. And there's a difficult silence. Silence happens when good friends sit together, and sometimes they don't need to say anything, because in that silence there are shared memories, there is shared identity. They are comfortable enough in each other's presence just to sit. No need to work harder, feverishly, looking for affirmation or support, but to know that they are loved and cherished, held by the other. Finally, there are times when we hold silence because words are not enough. There are times in our lives and experiences that what we feel going on around us and in us cannot be expressed or contained in the smallness of words. When the pain or the encounter or the events, they are beyond our language. We feel so small. What point of speaking? The size of the event, the weight of the emotion has closed our mouth down, and we sit in silence. In silence, we stop and we think, what is important in our life? We let ourselves be spoken to by our reflections rather than our busyness or our impulses. And we recognize that we are part of God's creation. We hold silence, and we will hold 2 minutes silence together shortly. In that silence, we remember. I wonder how far back you can remember. I wonder what your earliest memory is of places, of people, maybe feelings that you had when you're little. Remembering helps us to value life, to see what we have enjoyed, endured, and shared with others. Events that have made us who we are today. Remember, putting us together. If we don't remember, we run the risk of losing the sense and the meaning of our lives. We run the risk of repeating the same mistakes and foolishness that we've done before. We forget who we are and who we are to others. On this Sunday, on this special occasion, we particularly remember the horrors of war, of times when, as human beings, we could do no other but kill. We particularly remember those who lost their lives on behalf of others. We remember because the last century saw more people die in war than in any other age. Many of us have not lived now through a world war, and we struggle to remember what it felt like to live in those times. But maybe not all of us. Maybe there are some of us here this morning who were even quite little at that time, but we can remember something of the all-encompassing nature of that time. I wonder if anyone could share a word of how it felt at that time. What word would you choose to share? Again, I invite you to unmute yourself and just to share the word that what it felt like to be alive at that time.
Can you hear me?
Rosemary, go ahead.
I was 5 at the outbreak of the war, and we got quite upset. And my father was very reassuring. He was a school teacher, and he said, always hope, because we believe in good, we believe in God, and this man is evil, and he will be defeated. And that was very, very early in the war. So by the time the war ended, of course, I was 10.
Thank you, Rosemary. That's great. We remember and we share, give thanks for those who died in wars as they won for us freedom and prosperity, and we honor their bravery. We remember today because nations continue to go to war and because violent conflicts of many kinds still divide the people of the world. We remember today because children still grow up shaped by conflict. We remember because our armed forces are still called upon to leave homes and families and go to troubled spots in the world. We remember and give thanks for all those who work for peace and toil to rebuild shattered lives and communities. We remember the present to mourn for and to pray for our world. We remember the past so that we may hope for a better future for all God's children. We remember today, and so we pause from our busy lives to make sure that we do remember.